What's up guys, Deadly Fear 1283 here, gonna give you a history lesson on Halloween Horror Nights 19, ripped from the silver screen.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
To start off, let's get some backstory on our icon, the Usher, aka Julian Browning.
Good evening, moviegoers, and welcome to the Universal Palace. Since her grand opening in October 1922, all of Hollywood's greatest movies have graced her screens. She is a proud and dignified lady, one that demands the proper respect and dignity. She will not be insulted, and rude behavior will not be tolerated. Ever. Buy a ticket to the Universal Palace, and let me usher you into an experience you will never, ever forget. Tickets, please.
Julian Browning was the usher at the Universal Palace Theater, a popular movie house that had been converted from a playhouse during the 1920s. Browning truly enjoyed working at the theater and loved the movies, especially horror movies, becoming something of an expert. However, Browning was also very strict about enforcing the rules, and hated rude patrons who disrupted the movie experience for others. During a 1940 re-release of his all-time favorite horror film, The Phantom of the Opera, starring Lon Chaney Sr., Browning engaged in a scuffle with a rude theatergoer. During the fight, Browning's flashlight was seized by the boorish patron, who tossed the flashlight through the new screen, tearing it. As the furious usher went backstage to retrieve it, he was somehow entangled in one of the old playhouse's sandbag ropes, causing him to die a slow, painful death of strangulation with his feet mere inches above the floor. It is also revealed that this was the first horrible event of many in the theater's history, meaning that either the Universal Palace itself is evil, or Julian's revenge has been to destroy other rule-breaking patrons with classic movie monsters. Almost in the same way the Phantom from the Phantom of the Opera would do by causing incidents in the opera house. Julian Browning is the last of fear's heralds, embodying vengeance through his violent punishments of rule-breakers. It is said that vengeance is depicted showing one individual bludgeoning another with an object. This object was always seen with light illuminating from it. The usher didn't really appear on the event's merchandise or advertisements, although his beloved theater was a setting for one. But he did show up for television interviews. He also appeared on the HHN website, including the website intro. The intro would later be played on the screen at the entrance of the event as an extended version with an additional clip, footage from horror movies, and split-second shots of the usher mimicking his own strangulation. The usher appears in the Silver Screams house at the event and could be seen in videos screened on the walls around the queue areas and at the entrance, introducing the scare zone and houses, as well as the skit about the Palace Theater rules. He also appeared at the entrance of the park around the ticket area, along with female counterparts. The usher was also accompanied by 3 sub-icons who had made their names in horror. The first one was Billy the Puppet from the Saw series, the next was Chucky from the Child's Play series, and the last one was the Wolfman from the 2010 remake. The first house up is Silver Screams, which was supposed to be the icon house of 2009. Julian Browning has been the usher in the Universal Palace since it opened in 1922. Of course, he's been dead since 1940, but he still commands respect for his most beloved films from every patron. Buy a ticket to the Universal Palace, and let Julian usher you into a realm where the horror on the screen is ripped away to reveal a world that is truly terrifying. In this house, you experience a number of films chosen by Julian Browning himself. The first being his most beloved Phantom of the Opera, the second, My Bloody Valentine, the third, The Thing, the fourth, Medieval Dead, aka Army of Darkness, the fifth, Phantom of the Opera, again, the sixth, Shaun of the Dead, the seventh, The Strangers. And in the finale of this house, various scare actors playing Julian could be seen walking back and forth across the exit to the maze, and at times come up and attack guests to give them a final scare. There are a number of unused films that A&D planned for this house, but never got a chance to. Those films were The Exorcist, Dawn of the Dead, Doomsday, The People Under the Stairs, Psycho, The Invisible Man, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, and Silence of the Lambs. A little trivia about this house, posters for Leave It to Cleaver and The Spawning are seen in the queues. The next house on the list was Saw. This was considered to be a flagship house for 2009. Saw took place in the now deceased Jaws ride. For years you have come to celebrate Halloween and to witness weakness in others. The only way to gain redemption for this voyeuristic obsession is to truly know what it means to bleed, to feel weak, to experience pain. Jigsaw will give you this experience. Happy Halloween, and let the games begin. Some fun trivia about the Saw maze is that the Billy the Puppet in the beginning of the maze was the actual puppet used in Saw 5. The reverse bear trap was the exact cast of the real prop. The actual prop was used in Hollywood's Saw Game Over, and once again in Saw Game On. The next house was the Wolfman. This house was based on the 2010 remake of the classic movie Monster, which updates the classic horror story of the title character. The house was the first of 3 classic monster trilogy houses, the other 2 being Dracula, Legacy and Blood, and Frankenstein, Creation of the Damned, but we'll get to those later. Pure animalistic rage. Take a journey through England's countryside and come face to fangs with one of the most terrifying creatures to ever explode from the silver screen. Forget everything you thought you knew, and prepare yourself for the sights and sounds of the newest addition to Universal's legacy of horror. In the queues of this house, as lines pass the Universal Music Plaza stage, they can see trailers for the upcoming Wolfman movie, as well as cast interviews and special sneak peeks into the film. Consider it the ultimate preview for a horror movie. The third flagship house was Chucky, Friends to the End, right after Wolfman and Saw. Ever wonder what happens when good toys go bad? Chucky has been hard at work, tinkering with your favorite childhood playthings. Nothing is what it seems, as you step inside and experience what it's like to live in Chucky's world. You'll shrink down to his size and go through situations that only he is in control of. I can assure you, this is no child's play. Before you enter this house, you'll notice the facade is a good guy doll with Chucky ripping out of the box. Next is Frankenstein, Creation of the Damned. This house was one of the 3 classic Monster Trilogy houses. It is heavily influenced by steampunk. It's been a fortnight since his creation caused the castle to be engulfed in flames. Dr. Frankenstein now continues his work to perfect the art of resurrection and regeneration surrounded by his creations. The creature has also returned to make the Doctor pay for the pain and suffering he had to endure. The creature will destroy everything in his path to gain redemption, and you are now caught in the middle of this epic battle. The next house was Dracula, Legacy and Blood. This was the final of the 3 classic monster houses, and considered to be the most intense. In fact, won House of the Year at the end of the month-long run for HHN. Welcome to Castle Dracula. On the night of the calling, Vlad Dracula bids you welcome. Be you one of the chosen women who has been called, or merely a mortal man? Those who have been chosen must decide whether to join the Dark Prince in everlasting life as his brides, or reject his offer and suffer for all eternity. The blood must be renewed. The fate of the legacy hangs in the balance. Dracula's Legacy of Blood. Some trivia on this house. At the end, blood splattered on guests. Guests curious enough to try it discovered it was actually cherry juice. Next house is The Spawning. This is one of the 2 houses that were presented by the horror magazine Fangoria. Something different has moved in among the sewers of Wyandotte County, Ohio. The locals claim that these creatures, these scolders, are 2 feet tall with the body of a snake. As a volunteer member of the local water district, it is your civic duty to venture into these pipes and restore the flow. But beware, the locals were wrong about the scolders, and the only thing that will be flowing is your blood. The final house for Halloween Horror Nights 19 is Leave It to Cleaver. It is yet another Fangoria-presented house. Sam Meats cares for and about the people of Cary, Ohio, like they were his own family. Samuel Meats works for the people of Cary, Ohio as a butcher, bringing them the freshest meat possible. With a steady livestock of translates and town lawbreakers with which to serve, and a staff of volunteers who will preserve their town's deadly secret by any means necessary. There is truly no end to sight for Samuel or his family business. As Sam always says, meet me at Meats. The Z stands for cannibal. Some trivia about Leave It to Cleaver is that in one of the slaughter rooms, Bloody Mary's head is about to be chainsawed. Leave It to Cleaver has the most upbeat theme of all the houses at HHN. Leave It to Cleaver, as well as its Fangoria counterpart, The Spawning, both take place in Cary, Ohio. This is not the first time we've seen Cary, Ohio. It is in fact the go-to town of horror for art and design. Next topic is the 6 scare zones, the first being Lights, Camera, Action. Hollywood Boulevard is being used as a location for the filming of the next big horror film to be released in October 2010, The Chainsaw Drill Team in 3D. Our director, Mas Lamar, noted horror film aficionado, is bringing the massacre to life in blood red terracolor. But the actors seem to be taking their directions literally and are hacking through the cast and crew. It's a close encounter of the worst kind as the backlot becomes the hack lot and the streets run red with blood. Are you ready for your close-up? Next is Horrorwood Die-In. The Hollywood Drive-In has been closed for years, and some say the abandoned grounds are haunted, where late at night the dim flickering images of carnage and chaos, monsters and madmen leave the screen and enter the real world looking for fresh victims to star in their latest horrors. A trivia about Horrorwood Die-In is that if you watch the screen closely, you can see a scene from the episode The Doll from Rod Serling's Night Gallery. The TV series was aired in the early 1970s on NBC, which is owned by Universal. You'll see many different characters in the scare zone, including the Strangers, Harry Warden, The Thing, Reagan, the creature from the Black Lagoon, Dead Cheerleader, Norman Bates, and the Saw Pig. The next scare zone was Cirque du Freak, which is completely inspired by Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant, which tells the tale of a boy who unknowingly breaks a 200-year-old truce between 2 warring factions of vampires. Pulled into a fantastic life of misunderstood sideshow freaks and grotesque creatures of the night, one teen will vanish from the safety of a boring existence and fulfill his destiny in a place drawn from nightmares. The next scare zone is Apocalypse City of Cannibals. A whole civilization of warlike carnivorous humanoids emerge from the sewers and underground tunnels of New York, looking for fresh food. Half humanoid, half beast and ravenous, these tribal cannibals invade the streets of Manhattan, where no one is safe. This is a personal favorite of mine. The next scare zone is War of the Living Dead. On a remote island in the Pacific during the last days of World War II, the unthinkable was created. A new breed of super soldier made from the reanimated corpses of the dead. American forces quickly seized the island compound, but not before the reanimate agent was released. The island was quarantined and remained a secret until now. 50 years later, the 2 opposing dead forces are still locked in a mortal combat. Trivia about War of the Living Dead is the song Lullaby for a Dead Man was from Call of Duty 5 World at War. There is a mode in this game called Nazi Zombies. Many believe that is what the scare zone is inspired by. Another secret was that on the flamethrower, if you look closely, you can see it named Caretaker, like the icon of the same name. The next scare zone, and final, is Containment. When an experimental bio-nerve gas is accidentally released into the atmosphere, the streets fill with a toxic green mist that turns anyone who comes in contact with it into an affected, melting glob of flesh and blood. Finally, the shows of the event were the Rocky Horror Picture Show Tribute and Bill and Ted, Excellent Halloween Adventure. On the last remaining nights of Halloween Horror Nights 19, ripped from the silver screens. A&D released a 7th Scare Zone, which gave us a blast from the past of familiar icons, and icons we didn't get to see come to fruition. This was supposed to be a preview to Halloween Horror Nights 20 and what we were to expect. Well, that's it for my Horror Nights history lesson on Halloween Horror Nights 19, ripped from the silver screens. See you next time.